Good evening, friends, and welcome to the— why do I sound like Dracula? Welcome to the very special championship preview edition of Out of the Groove. Tonight, we will examine the 4 NASCAR Cup Series Championship contenders in great detail, so please gather around with your friends, your loved ones, and join me as we discuss the favorites and underdogs heading into the only race anyone cares about this week. I can't keep this bit up anymore. This isn't even alcohol, this is Dr. Pepper. And this isn't even glass, it's plastic. Gosh, look at how cracked it is. Alright, the facade is completely fallen off. Anyway, we do have a lot to get to today. We're going to talk all about the Championship 4 at Phoenix this week, and we're going to look at the 4 contenders in great detail. Like I said, I will give you all my championship pick, and I look forward to hearing what you think in the comments below. But first, this episode is sponsored by the Mesothelioma Center at asbestos.com. Many of you have probably seen these kinds of ads on TV before. Mesothelioma is a deadly asbestos-related cancer. It's not a young person's cancer, but it can affect our older loved ones, such as our grandparents. And it's not uncommon among former auto mechanics who may have worked with car parts like brake pads, which once contained asbestos. Older military veterans could also be at risk, unfortunately, due to possible exposure to asbestos on ships, barracks, and military bases. If one of your older relatives falls into one of these categories and feels they were likely exposed to asbestos, they should call the Mesothelioma Center at asbestos.com or at the number 888-292-7807. Both the phone number and the link to asbestos.com are available down in the description of this video. Thank you to the Mesothelioma Center for supporting this episode of Out of the Groove. So this is the week. This is the week that the NASCAR world has been anticipating since the first green flag dropped in February. In roughly 4 days, we will know who the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion will be. Before we look at and compare our 4 championship contenders, first and foremost, the championship race is at Phoenix Raceway this Sunday, November 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. Phoenix Raceway is a 1-mile racetrack. Sunday's race will be 312 laps in length. And of course, due to the pandemic, the crowd will be limited. Roughly 8,000 fans are expected to attend on Sunday. Of course, Phoenix Raceway typically concede around 40,000, so it's about 20% capacity. This will be the first NASCAR championship weekend ever held at Phoenix, and knock on wood, but I did look at the weather, and right now for Sunday, it's partly cloudy, high of like 66. Should be pretty good conditions. I don't think we'll have any tremendous delays. Fingers crossed. I just jinxed it. I'm so sorry, everybody. Oh, I should have edited that out. If the race in March was any indication, it's going to be a fantastic show on Sunday, so I hope everyone tunes in. Again, NBC, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1 p.m. local time at Phoenix. So this is actually going to be a day race. Usually, the last few years, the championship race usually ends at night, East Coast Miami. But running this year's race in Mountain Time is going to change things up a little bit. All right, let's meet our 4 championship contenders. Racing for a title this weekend, we have Joey Logano, his teammate Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott. We're going to look at and compare some of the more important numbers here in just a moment, but to start with, I just want to go down the list and talk a little bit about each contender. Let's start with Joey Logano. He was the first driver to lock himself into the championship for winning at Kansas a couple weeks back. On the surface, Joey Logano may look like the underdog. He has less wins than the other championship 4 contenders. He only has 3 wins this season. He also has, by a slim margin, the worst average finish this season of the 4. His average finish this year is 12.1. But one thing Joey Logano does have going for him is that he won the most recent race at Phoenix Raceway, held before the pandemic back in March. He had to hold off a late charge from Kevin Harvick to do it. That was Joey Logano's only win this season, however, with the 750 horsepower low downforce rules package. The same rules package and actually the same tire combo that will be run this weekend as well. Logano's other 2 wins this year came at mile and a half, so Las Vegas and then Kansas a couple weeks back. Logano fired out of the gates extremely strong in 2020. He won 2 of the first 4 races, and then of course, as we all know, the sport shut down for a couple of months. And once NASCAR got back rolling with all the one-day shows and everything, Logano seemed to take a little while to get back up to speed. He did not win another race all summer long. He didn't win anything until just a couple weeks ago at Kansas when he was able to hold off, again, Kevin Harvick for the win. But Joey Logano has been strong in these playoffs. In the first 9 races, he has 5 top 5 finishes. And while his average finish for the whole season is 12.1, his average finish for the 9 races in the playoffs so far is 8.1. That's a fairly impressive improvement improvement. This has shades of 2018 when, remember, all the conversation all year long was about the big three of Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick. Everyone focused on how dominant they were, especially early in the season, that nobody really noticed Joey Logano putting together the most consistent 10-race playoff. He had the best average finish in the playoffs, and he shocked a lot of people by winning the championship at Homestead. We could see something similar happen this year. Kind of quiet over the summer, but came on strong late in the playoffs, and Joey Logano's recent success at Phoenix in March could come into play and help him out immensely. Logano's career numbers at Phoenix are, okay. That win in March is his only win at Phoenix, but his average finish for his career is 14.35. He finished 9th and 10th in the 2 races here a year ago, albeit with a very different rules package. Remember last year in 2019, they ran high downforce at Phoenix, so a little bit different, but Joey Logano is certainly going to be a contender on Sunday. He might be the dark horse that not a whole lot of people are talking about going in, but he could shock everyone Sunday night. Now, we talked about the first guy to lock himself into the championship for. Let's talk about the last guy to lock himself in. Well, I guess technically he's not the last guy, but Chase Elliott, of course, locked himself into the championship race with that clutch win at Martinsville just a few nights ago. Chase Elliott has the second worst average finish all season long of the 4 championship contenders. His is slightly better than Logano's. Logano, remember, had a 12.1 average finish for the season. Chase Elliott is a 12.0 average finish. In the March Phoenix race, Chase Elliott finished 7th, but he did lead 93 laps. But what's really interesting about Chase Elliott is he has 4 wins this season. 3 of them have come using the 750 horsepower low downforce rules package. Now, that's a little deceiving because 2 of those wins have come on road courses, the Daytona road course and the Charlotte Roval, which don't drive in the same way ovals drive. But Chase Elliott does have a lot of recent momentum, winning just a few days ago at Martinsville, a short track that uses the same rules package. And if you're a believer in momentum, the momentum doesn't stop there. Chase Elliott had a very strong playoffs. He's won 2 of the last 4 races. He has 4 top 5 so far in these first 9 races. His average finish is 9.6, again, similar to Logano, a dramatic improvement over his regular season average finish, so momentum may very well be on Chase Elliott's side. His career Phoenix numbers, though, tell a slightly different story. His numbers are solid at Phoenix. I mean, he doesn't have that many starts. He hasn't won a race at Phoenix yet. His average finish is 13th, which isn't bad. But if we look at the last 4 Phoenix races, he only has 1 top 10, and that was earlier this year, a 7th. But if we go back and look at Chase Elliott's rookie season in 2016, and we look at his first 5 races at Phoenix, from 2016 to 2018, his worst finish was 12th during that span, and he had a couple podium finishes in there. So Chase Elliott certainly strong at Phoenix, maybe not his best suited racetrack, but hey, if you're a believer in momentum, Chase Elliott sure has a lot of it right now. And of those 8,000 fans that are going to be cheering in the grandstands on Sunday, I have a feeling a large portion of them will be Chase Elliott supporters. Now let's talk about one of the heavyweights all season long. Denny Hamlin has qualified for the championship 4. He finished 20th at Phoenix earlier this season, but he was involved in a crash with Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney. Looking back at the incident, it looked like on a restart, Hamlin just maybe moved up slightly into Keselowski, misjudged it. They made contact and didn't end their race, but ended any chance of them running for the win. But Denny Hamlin is in the middle of one of the best seasons of his career. He has 7 wins to this point, an average finish this season of 9.5, very solid, the best of the championship 4 contenders. And speaking to the media earlier this week, Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, said they are planning to bring a brand new race car to Phoenix. Sure, there may be some risk associated with that, but you would think that Joe Gibbs Racing has pooled all of its resources to put the best of the best into this brand new car, so that could bode well for Hamlin. It's not all perfect for Denny Hamlin, though. He does have 7 wins this year. 2 of them have come on super speedways. One was that controversial Talladega race, and even then, only 1 of his wins this year has come using the 750 horsepower low downforce rules package. It was at Dover, a track that, while technically it's the same length as Phoenix, it does not drive the same way, not the same kind of surface, not the same kind of banking. It is a very different track from Phoenix. So much of Hamlin's damage this year has been done on the intermediate and bigger tracks. But the way the championship works out and it comes down to this final race, winner take all, it may not bode super well for Denny Hamlin given how they've run at these types of tracks this season. But if you do look at Denny Hamlin's career numbers at Phoenix, even some of his more recent numbers, Denny Hamlin's got decent numbers. He's won twice at Phoenix, including this race, or the fall Phoenix race, 1 year ago. He won at Phoenix late in 2019. Again, very different rules package, but same track. For his career, Hamlin has 2 wins at Phoenix and an average finish of 11.27, best of all the championship contenders. But despite the fact that Hamlin has always been good at Phoenix, despite the fact that he's in the middle, like I said, of one of the best seasons of his career, I do not think Denny Hamlin is the favorite going into this weekend. I mentioned how Joey Logano, Chase Elliott have dramatically improved their average finish since the playoffs started. Hamlin's average finish in these playoffs is 11.1. That is worse than his regular season average finish. And so far in these first 9 races, he only has 3 top 10s. He just barely squeezed himself into this round, even though in the round of 8 he finished 15th, 9th, and 11th, and did not show typical 2020 Hamlin strength in any of those races. It's difficult because all season long the conversation was really between Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. With Harvick's struggles the last couple weeks and early elimination from the playoffs, in theory the door should be wide open for Denny Hamlin to snag his first ever Cup championship, but if we look at momentum, or specifically recent results, it's just not there for Denny Hamlin, unfortunately. I do not believe Hamlin is the favorite coming into this weekend. If you want to know who I think the favorite is, let's talk about our final championship contender, Brad Keselowski. He said earlier this summer that this has been quietly one of the best seasons of his career, and I think he said it best. It has been a quiet year for Brad Keselowski. He has 4 wins, which is very solid, but I don't feel like many people are talking about Keselowski as a real championship threat, and I think that is a crucial mistake. Brad Keselowski has the second best average finish of these championship 4 contenders, just narrowly off from Hamlin's number. Keselowski's at a 10.3 average finish for the season. He has those 4 wins, but what makes those 4 wins notable, more notable in my opinion than all the other drivers' wins, is that 3 of them have come using the 750 horsepower low downforce rules package. And unlike Chase Elliott's wins, which mostly have come at road courses, Keselowski's winning at the short ovals, which is what Phoenix is. Keselowski won at Bristol earlier this year, kind of lucked into one there, I'm not gonna lie, but then he backed it up by winning Loudon, and then he ran fantastic at Richmond earlier in these playoffs and won that race easily. Looking back at the Phoenix race in March, Keselowski led 82 laps. He only finished 11th because he got damaged from that incident with Denny Hamlin, but Brad led laps, and his teammate Logano obviously went on to win the race. And if we look at those other wins, he led 115 laps at Bristol, he led 184 laps at Loudon, and he led 192 laps at Richmond. Brad Keselowski has been the man to beat consistently at the 1 mile and shorter ovals this season, and the team said a few weeks ago that they are planning to bring the Richmond car that he won with earlier in these playoffs to the championship race at Phoenix. That should make the competition nervous. Focusing on BK's Phoenix stats for his career, they're not super special. He doesn't have any wins at Phoenix. His average finish is 13.5. That's all right. Now, he has led laps in 4 of the last 5 Phoenix races, but he only has 1 top 5 in the last 2.5 years. And these playoffs have been kind of up and down for Brad Keselowski. His average finish in these playoffs is 12.1, which is a slight decrease off of his regular season numbers, but that's weighed heavily down by a bad finish he had earlier in the playoffs. He had a rough round of 12, wasn't super consistent, but in the round of 8, he didn't finish worse than 6th in these last 3 races. So momentum may be building behind Brad Keselowski here in the closing weeks of the season. I believe Brad Keselowski is the championship favorite. He's been there before. He's won a Cup Series title. It's been a while, 2012, but this one I'm sure would be very special for him and that team. Of course, this is the first year he's worked in the Cup Series, at least with crew chief Jeremy Bullins. That would be pretty impressive if, after all the swapping Penske did in the offseason, I mean, it's already impressive they got 2 of their drivers in the championship 4. It'd be even more impressive if Bullins and Keselowski were able to team up to win a championship in their first year together. That would be significant. My pick ultimately is Brad Keselowski. I think he will win the 2020 Series Championship. I made that prediction 7 or 8 weeks ago after he won at Richmond and did so in commanding fashion. I told y'all then that if Brad Keselowski makes it to the championship 4, even if Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin are both in there as well, I said it then, I think Keselowski might be the favorite. With Harvick out and Denny Hamlin not running as well clearly as he was earlier in the season, I think Brad Keselowski is the obvious favorite. Obviously, it comes down to one race, anything can happen, but if you're a betting man, I'd put my money on Brad Keselowski. If you follow Brad Keselowski, his story is interesting this year. He was kind of forced to sign a suboptimal 1-year contract to stay with Penske for 2021, so he will be a free agent after next season. So if he adds another championship to his resume, Brad Keselowski's looking to cash in a pretty nice contract at the end of next season. Might not even stay with Team Penske. He could go anywhere, perhaps. That would be a very solid add to his resume. So there are a lot of stories to follow. I do think Chase Elliott would be the most interesting championship winner. My pick is Brad Keselowski. Let me know who you got down in the comments below. That is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. We talk NASCAR almost every single day. Even with the off season right around the corner, the conversation is not going to stop. And of course, a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. Couldn't do this show without your support. More to come this week before Phoenix, but I hope you enjoyed today's very sophisticated, I still have this thing here, I haven't been drinking it, its cup is absolutely destroyed. I hope you enjoyed today's sophisticated NASCAR championship preview. I had a lot of fun looking at the numbers, crunching the numbers, discussing it with you all. Hope you all enjoyed. I will see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Have a great week.